Hey Manuel.
Hello,
Hey, how you doing?
pretty good, doing well. What about you?
Yeah, yeah, it's been all right here. I've been stuck at home for 4 months, but it's been good.
Yeah, of course. The-
How's everything over there?
Yeah, everything was quite good. Here, we can say that here life uh, is back to normality more or less.
Uh-huh.
There are few restrictions, but um, the overall situation is quite good. We can say that almost everything now is open, except for small activities, but I can say that the overall situation is quite good.
That's good news. So the restaurants and the pubs, the bars are all running as usual.
Yeah, everything is open. Of course, some restaurants, some bars, they had to increase the distance between tables and so on, just in order to maintain social distancing.
Mm,
The only let's say recreational activities that are still are not open yet are stadium and clubs, where of course it is more difficult to maintain distance because they usually accept a lot of people inside. So
yeah.
I think it wouldn't be so easy to maintain a proper distancing between people. So these are the only let's say activities that are still under some restriction. What about restaurants, bars, and also, sea places for tourism, for vacations? They are uh, more or less open.
What about other sport activities like football and rugby? Can you already play with your friends and
Yes, they have opened to this possibility maybe 2 weeks ago. I think from 25th of July. So also contact sports like yeah, soccer, like rugby, something like that. Now we are allowed to play these games to do the sports. So not only individual sports are now allowed, but also team sports. Even though there are no particular restriction, yeah, you can do it without a mask.
right?
So basically, I think that they can be done as usual, I guess.
I see. So wearing masks is not mandatory anymore in Italy.
No, some gyms, if you go to the gym, some of them, they may require you to wear a mask while working out.
It's a bit difficult, isn't
Uh,
it?
Yeah, it is difficult, but you have to think that also at the beginning, the very beginning of the when they started to ease these measures, it was also allowed to go outside running alone,
Okay.
but wearing a mask. So you had to run with a mask on.
Wow.
So it wasn't very very easy. I tried also to do so, but it
Uh-huh.
wasn't really easy. But now it is not. Outside sports you don't have to wear a mask. Although indoor sports they may require you to wear a mask.
But you don't have to wear a mask when you're dining out.
No, when you are at the table, I mean,
Yeah.
you can take off your mask, but if you have to move also inside, maybe the restaurant or bar, maybe if you have to go to the restrooms, or if you have to go to the cashier to pay, you have to wear a mask. So if you have to move inside the place, which is closed space, you have to wear a mask. But when you are at the table, no, or you're not required to.
Right. So do they have like proper hand sanitizing options, or is that mandatory before entering any premises?
Yes, usually almost every place has it outside or just after in the main entrance, because it is mandatory to sanitize your hands. So I guess that I've seen it almost, yeah, let's say everywhere. Yeah, so they have it. They have it. So it is, and it is mandatory. Also, talking about again about gym, it is also mandatory whenever you use a machine to sanitize it before and after using it.
Oh, so they
So
require you to sanitize your hands before using the machine.
on those of the machines, so they will provide you with some kind of paper tissues
Ah,
with the
okay.
sanitizing product, and you have um, to wipe all the the dumbbell or the machine that you are using
Right,
as a let's say another measure to avoid infections.
right. Yeah, I think I kind of heard something like that, but although I've not been to a gym myself, I don't really know what they actually require you to do. Because, I've kind of
I'm
heard
going
on
in
the
this period actually. So every time you use something, you have to take your paper tissue
right.
using the sanitizing lotion and clean whatever whichever things you
Yeah.
touch with your
Mm,
hands. So
but did they implement this tracking app where they track where you go?
it was implemented by the Italian government like maybe 1 month ago, but it
One
is
month
not
ago,
mandatory. 1 month ago, yeah,
right?
but it is not mandatory, which means that you can decide to download it or not on your phone. As far as I know, I think that just 2 million people in Italy are using it,
Mm,
which is making this app uh, virtually useless,
yeah.
because people are not a good percentage to cover a large portion of population. So um, this is not used very very much. They say that they have discovered so far like 50 new cases using this app, which is basically which is using the Bluetooth device on your phone, so to track all the other phones you get in contact with. So it's not mandatory, so it's not so effective, I think.
Yeah, because even if it's used by these certain people, it's just them who are going to be notified if there's any case or anything, right?
Yeah, you receive a notification that uh, you may have get in contact with an infected person, so
Mm,
and you are required to go to get not to go but to get in contact with your doctor
hmm.
to see if it is or not the case to get tested for COVID-19.
Okay, yeah, I think it could have been similar here because there are two ways where they can track you. It's either by registration on the entrance where you can write your name and your phone number,
Mhm.
or you can use that app. But I think they require you to really register if you enter any premises. And
Well,
also,
actually, should be the same here, but
yeah,
uh, as far as I see, as far as I know, almost no premises are using this kind of system. They should they should do like that, but they're not doing so. They should register you whenever you get inside the premise, and also they should um, uh, let's say keep all this information for 2 weeks together with
okay.
temperature scan. Temperature scan are more let's say uh, most places they use the temperature scan.
Temperature, right.
Yeah, they check your temperature where you get inside the bar or restaurant or any closed place like a mall or a shop and so on. This is more common,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
but not the registration of the name and phone number or personal email. This is not very common. Yeah.
Don't you think it is not so efficient because it's the summer now, so it's understandably people get warm really easily. How do you think, how efficient do you think that temperature scanning is?
Yeah, usually they provide a correct scan. I got tested with this temperature scan. Usually the temperature is like below the alert level of fever, but it happened to me that once I was driving for like maybe 1 hour and a half, and I was the sun, just in front of my face for all the almost all time. And when I got inside the place, my temperature was quite high. I
Yeah,
explained them that I was driving with the sun in
that's my
front of
point.
me. Yeah, and then
And
I just asked them, okay, just wait a few minutes. And in fact, after that,
uh,
I was checked again, and my temperature was lower than a fever one. So I told them, look, I don't have fever, I don't have anything. I was just driving. But I think
yeah,
that in general, the temperature scanning is quite reliable, I think.
yeah, because they always have the risk that you might have a higher temperature than when you are supposed to be, right?
Yeah, yeah, you can just wait some minutes
Mm,
in the shadow or something like that,
or maybe have a
and
sip of
you
water.
you should cool down a little bit. Yeah.
So, what about the travel restrictions in Italy? You can already travel out since you mentioned that you went to London last week.
Yeah, yeah, correct. Yes, you're allowed to travel basically inside European Union without having to self quarantine for 2 weeks upon your arrival back to Italy.
Mm.
Uh, but this is not for extra Schengen countries. So if you go outside Schengen area, you can go, but when you're back, of course, you have to self quarantine. You have to declare it also at the
Uh,
airport back to Italy, and you have to declare it. Also, when you're back from a travel abroad, you have to produce, let's say, a paper stating where you have been, and also if you've only been to European countries, I mean Schengen area, you're not required to self quarantine. So it's just for airport authorities to check which countries you have visited before uh, going back to Italy.
right. But what about the time when you went to the UK? Did you not have to quarantine for
No,
two
no,
weeks?
no. No, also because starting from the 10th of July, I know that UK is
Okay.
allowing uh, a small list of countries
Mm.
to get access to UK without self quarantine.
Hmm.
They call it the safe corridors. They call there is a list of
Mm.
countries, and if you come from this country, you don't have to self quarantine. This list has been updating. The last update now is that they are not, I think, allowing well, they are allowing passengers from the Luxembourgs and the Islands, but with self quarantine. Also, Spain is now included in the mandatory self quarantine list because of the high increase of the cases of COVID that Spain is facing um, in these last days.
Oh, really?
But Italy still remains in the safe corridor list, so no quarantine. And also for Italy, even though UK is no longer part of the European Union, they
Yeah.
still consider it as part of Schengen agreement together with Switzerland.
Ah.
So you don't have to self quarantine in Italy. There is a list of countries that are now that they have to self quarantine, and this list now include some Balkan countries, like
Uh-huh.
Serbia, like Kosovo, like also Bulgaria and Romania now are in this list, so they have to self quarantine if you have traveled to these places. But all these lists, both for Italy and UK, updating based on the numbers of COVID-19 cases that have been registered in these countries. So
Right.
based on that, they can decide to
Yeah,
implement
yeah.
the quarantine for other countries.
So travelers have to make sure that they check the list and see if the immigration lets them in before
Yes,
traveling.
yeah, of course.
Although generally the border is already open.
The border is open, but sometimes you have to fill in some forms before traveling,
Right.
and it is the case of UK, where you have
Uh,
to fill a declaration form uh, and send it by through an internet application. So
oh.
um, this is not required for Italy, but you have to produce there is a paper that you have to sign stating the countries you have visited.
You mean
So of
at the
course, before
airport or
traveling,
upon
at
arrival?
the airport, yeah, at the airport, at the customs.
Right.
So before traveling, of course, you have to check carefully which are the conditions for getting entrance for each country. Also, Italian airports are now serving very few destinations, very few flights.
Mm.
So, also the air traffic is very low in this period, even
Mm.
if it's summer. So it should be the period of uh, the most busy air traffic, but this is not happening because, of course, a lot of airlines are reducing um, the number of destinations and also the number of connection for each destination.
Mm. I think they should go to Sardinia.
Yeah, of course.
Because this is a
Yeah,
really nice place.
That's a very good place. It's so expensive, but
Yeah,
it's a
it is
very, very
expensive,
nice
as you
place.
said.
Yeah, it is expensive. It is. It is also if you travel there using a plane, Italy to Italy. So also internal flights are quite expensive, and
Right.
vacation hotels are expensive also because they
Okay.
usually have a very high tourist
Mm.
level from abroad. So let's say that's the reason why they keep maintaining these high prices. So
Mm.
yeah, Sardinia is not a cheap destination for
Right. It's not.
vacation.
It's not really. They don't have any Airbnbs there, do they?
They should have if you're going to cities. Yeah, they should have. They should have. But if you go to hotels or other very fancy places and there are a lot in Sardinia, prices are pretty high.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I think it's just like some nice places in Croatia. They are quite expensive as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course.
And although Croatia is like far east of Europe, isn't it?
Yeah. It's also one of the most chosen destination for Italian tourists because it's quite close. It's
Right.
not very far,
Yeah, that's true.
and
I guess go by ferry.
you can go also by car. You can go
To
if you are, of course,
Croatia.
if you are
Right.
close to the border, of course. Also, Venice, a very few tourists.
I
It's almost empty there. Yeah, I have a
think,
friend who went there maybe 1 week ago, and
yeah.
he said that it's very very empty, which is good from one side to visit because there are very few people around, but for the other side, okay, it can give you the idea of the of how this pandemia um, has hit Italian tourist sector
Yeah,
because
yeah,
very
that's
very few people, especially from abroad.
that's the bad thing about it.
Yeah,
But I think the locals should be happy because it's not crowded with tourists as
yeah,
usual.
it is not. Yeah, yeah, probably.
Yeah, I think it was even worse when the lockdown started in the end of
Oh yeah,
March.
of course,
Yeah,
of course.
it's really dead.
Because now people are basically, especially in Europe, are allowed to go out. So
Mm.
there is people around usually, but uh, not so many as before. But anyway, not like during the lockdown. Because during the lockdown, of course, nobody was around. I remember going out during lockdown, for groceries or something like that. It was almost no one out.
Yeah, it's good to hear from you on the updates on what's happening in Italy now and travel restrictions that has been relaxed. And
Yeah,
look at the
thank you.
wonderful weather behind you.
Yeah, of course. It's really nice. It is extremely hot in this period also.
Oh, right. Yeah, I would imagine that because it's the peak of the
Yeah,
summer, isn't it?
yeah, of course. It's
Right.
really hot.
Right. Thanks for joining me today. And thanks for
Thank
your
you.
time in
Thank
the
you very.
afternoon.
Okay, thank you very much.
I hope you enjoy
It's a
your
pleasure.
evening.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Yes. And let's keep in touch.
Okay, of course.
Enjoy your day.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
Yeah.